Thank you for joining me on another episode of Empowered Podcast. I would love for my next guest to introduce herself.
I'm Kate. I'm a movement and wellness educator, teacher, and yeah, hi.
So we've known each other for quite a long time, haven't we?
We have.
We grew up in the same area
We did.
on the Wirral.
Yeah.
Would you feel able to share your first, I think, trauma with regards to what you experienced with your mum, which is how we kind of
Know each other.
First
Yeah.
touched base with each other. I was at primary school. Your mum was just like this beautiful, wonderful teacher that I was lucky enough to be taught by, and you came along and did this dance, which was just like, at the time everyone was in awe because you were the teenager, gorgeous, vibrant, you were the daughter of the teacher. So I mean, what came next after that?
So basically, obviously my first, main trauma really was losing my mum. The day I had my youngest son, Harry. She was diagnosed with cancer in December 2004 and basically died a month later in January. So she actually died on her birthday, and my son, Harry, was born the day she died. So yeah, a bit of a shitty time, really.
How old were you?
I was 29.
So at this time, I mean, this is a huge trauma.
Yeah.
Was there any warning signs? Was it something that was it a shock? What was the context of life like around that time?
So basically, she'd been ill for a couple of months, but not massively ill, and we sort of didn't know what it was. She was diagnosed with, bowel problems, but then she was sent for a scan, and what I can remember was they just basically said, you need to stay in, and we're going to do some tests. So then we got the results on the 8th of December that she had bowel cancer, and it spread to her liver. And like I said to you before, basically she was kept in, and it was just a massive shock because we didn't expect that to be the results, really. So it was just like a whirlwind of emotions, really. Very difficult to process. Obviously, I was due to have a baby on the 11th of Jan, so it was like, wow, what the hell?
Yeah.
And like I said to you before, she was in hospital. She got taken in maybe on, I don't know, date, 10th of December or whatever.
Yeah.
And they let her out on Christmas Eve. And I thought they'd let her out because she was okay. Well, no, Christmas.
Yeah.
But also, that she was okay. And they were going to put some, care treatments in place. Basically, that wasn't the case because just after New Year, we all went to Clatterbridge for appointments. I don't know why we all went, but we did. It was almost like the universe has gone, all go out for afternoon tea.
Yeah.
And then we went to the appointment, or we'd gone to afternoon tea first. I can't remember. It was a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
And my brother and me dad were outside the consultant's room, and I went in with her. And she looked dead ill, but when you just don't realise, because I'd never had any dealings with cancer that close to home.
Yeah.
Didn't really know much about it, so I was new to it all. And plus, obviously, I'm getting, the baby is due.
Yeah.
And I just remember the consultant taken her into another room,
Yeah.
and I was left with her original consultant. And I don't know why, but I just said, what's going to happen? And she just basically said to me, your mum's not a well woman. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? Is she not going to get better, kind of thing? And they were like, no. I said, what? So what are we saying? Like, how long she got left? And she was like, not long at all. And I was like, what? Like, how long? Days. So I was like, for fuck's sake, do you know what I mean? My proper head fell off.
So up until this point, you're thinking, okay, she's poorly, we need to get treatment.
Yeah, it's you know, because it's Christmas and people are busy and whatever, and they're just letting us all get used to the idea.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to find out what treatment she can have and all this and that.
Next.
Yeah. Anyway, she basically said days. So I'm thinking, I'm having a baby. I needed to see this baby.
Oh, Kate, what?
Yeah.
The hell?
So the consultant rang the hospital, Liverpool Women's, because I did still want my kids to be born in Liverpool. She actually rang the...
Because your mum's from Liverpool.
Yeah, and Joel, my eldest son, was born in Liverpool because my mum wanted him to be born where we were born.
Yeah.
And then that hospital wasn't there, it was the Women's, wasn't it? So
What was the hospital?
it was called Oxford Street.
That's where I was born.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I was there, my brother was there, and my eldest son. So it was like the tradition, you know, keep it going kind of thing.
Scouse roots there.
Oh, of course, yeah. And the consultant rang through to the hospital and was like, this lady needs to have her baby. So I can't remember what date it was. It was like maybe the 6th of January.
Yeah.
I went in to be started off.
Were you full term at this
Yeah,
point?
yeah. So he was due on the 11th of Jan,
Right.
which, funnily enough, is my oldest son's birthday.
Oh my
Yeah, so it's all these dates, birthdays,
Yeah.
deaths, you know.
Some numbers
yeah.
there, isn't there?
So anyway, I went in, got started off, and it was like longer because you get started off. It's a bit different when you go into natural labour. And I went to sleep that night in labour, but very slow labour. Spoke to her the next day and stuff. And then, sorry, I need to take a moment here.
It's all right.
I had the baby. No, I didn't have the baby, I'm lying. I went into like more or less proper labour then, so I was getting contractions, and my partner at the time spoke to my dad on the phone, and I think she had Macmillan with her then.
Right.
So they had said to my dad, you know, oh, it's one of them, isn't it?
Did she know what was happening?
She was aware of it, but anyway, I said, I'm going to go and see her in labour. I was in labour, so God, my voice has gone here.
It's all right.
Because I knew it would probably be the last time that I saw her, so, oh my God.
So it's kind of like you're
Yeah,
about to bring life.
yeah, so I nipped home from the Women's, saw her, and she was like, where's the baby? She was obviously away with the fairies on all her morphine and whatnot, but she was like, where's the baby, where's the baby? She's waited for this baby to be born. I was like, the baby isn't here yet, I've just come to see you. And, you know, you don't want to say bye, do you? We all knew, but it was never said, so I went back to the hospital. Harry was born on the 8th of January, which is the same birthday as my mum.
Right.
So they share a birthday. So my partner at the time rang my dad and said she's had a boy. And my mum said, another boy, I've got another grandson. And then obviously went. So, yeah,
Did you feel like she was waiting?
yeah, she was. I know she was. Yeah, I know she was. So I went home as quick as I could, obviously with the baby. And my mum was still there, you know. Yeah, so I placed him next to her so she could meet him. Yeah. Yeah, so they share a birthday, which is wonderful because it's a gift, isn't it? It's my gift. Harry is, I mean, both of my children are my gifts, but Harry was, to say, special gift,
to
I
make
feel.
her so happy
Yeah.
as well at the end of her life with that. I mean, what
Yeah.
more of a gift could you give someone?
And the fact that they share a birthday, it was the day she died as well. But it's lovely, it's lovely because every year we celebrate the birthdays, and the day she died is not as sad as it would have been. Does that make
How old
sense?
was she?
She was 56 that day. Yeah, so
Wow.
I know.
So, moving on from that experience,
Yeah.
and you reflecting now, do you feel like it changed the course of your life to get you to the point where you are now?
100%. It's shaped the person who I am, and the work that I do now, I don't think I would have probably been doing that work if I hadn't have been through what I went through, because
What does that work? I know what you do.
yeah,
but
sorry.
what
So
does that work look like?
so obviously I've always practiced yoga since I was young, obviously from a dance background and, you know, yoga, fitness. And I was just low, struggling, you know, just doing stuff that I was just going through the motions, I suppose. Drinking a lot, smoking a lot,
Trying to cope.
Yeah.
Like, how do you cope with those feelings?
eating a lot, anything. It was like that, sort of just doing stuff. It was avoidance, basically. And there's only so long you can avoid things for, isn't there? Because it has to be dealt with, it has to come out. So I threw myself into yoga, practicing yoga, going back to the gym, you know, touching on meditation and just looking for other things rather than, you know,
Like the
things
self-harm
that
behaviours.
so
Something more.
yeah, so it was that, like, self-medication and just, you know, doing whatever you could do, but it wasn't positive stuff. So obviously I found yoga again, and then things just evolved, really. Luckily, a really good friend of mine, she had a studio and I used to go there, and she offered me the chance to do me yoga teacher training.
Wow.
So I did that, and then obviously started to offer yoga, and then just built a business around that. You know, offering yoga, meditation, breath work, things like that. And then lockdown happened, didn't it? And that's where we met up again,
yeah.
And I needed to do stuff for me through lockdown as well, because I thought, whoa, I'm going to go down this slippery slope again, because I
And you're helping everybody
Yeah.
else, aren't you? You're teaching them.
needed to be occupied. So I offered, you know, the garden stuff, because we could do stuff outside, couldn't we?
Yeah.
And then I started doing more community stuff. So I would do yoga of the morning, 6:30, 3 times a week, just offering it when group outdoor exercise opened up.
Which was a massive lifeline for people in community.
Yeah, so I did that. And then, because I love doing that, not fast forward, rewind. And this is where you come into it again. It's like you keep coming back to me.
I'm always there.
I got that job, didn't I, at Wirral Mines?
Yeah.
So I'd been to therapy through Wirral Mines, which they were a lifeline. You know, I have so much respect for what they do.
Yeah.
They really helped me, and that was like going into talking therapies, which I believe, you know, is just a wonderful gift to be able to...
Sorry to cut you off. Had you had therapies from what happened with your mum up until this point, or was this the first
It
time?
was, I'd had therapy previous to that because I've struggled with like anxiety and depression since I was maybe 19, 20. So I'd had talking therapies before,
Yeah.
but I'd never really had any like bereavement counselling or grief because I had Harry. I was just put myself into that, being a mum, and you know, again, just sort of like thought, oh, I'm fine, I'm great at, you know,
you're distracted
masking.
doing all that as
Yeah.
well, aren't you?
So I did that, and then I think I had a bit of talking therapy at Wirral Mine before lockdown, maybe stuff to do with my mum, relationships, you know, all that basically sort of probably had a bit of a breakdown, and I thought, right, I need to sort this out. So talking therapy, all those types of things. And then again in lockdown, there was a job advertised at Wirral Mine, remember? I needed to do something. I thought, you know what, I want to give something back. So I got the job there and was on the phones just chatting to people because people were isolated. They couldn't go out. It was like a lifeline to some people because obviously they couldn't go into the centre. Some people weren't even talking to anyone.
Yeah.
That was like their home.
It literally was
Yeah.
a lifeline.
So every day I'd talk to people and we'd just have a gab about, like, you know, how are you, random stuff, talk about families, animals, anything. Do you know what I mean? They all had a slot and they become like friends, you know. You'd be like, oh, hi, all right, how are you? You know, all that was lovely. So that sort of took me, my work, down the mental health route. So obviously I'd been doing stuff for the community previously to that in lockdown, and then when the world was opening back up, Wirral Mind knew that I had my own stuff to do, but they kindly said, would you still stay on and deliver sessions here, like yoga, meditation, do a little bit of chair fit, stuff like that. So I was made up, and then everything just evolved really from then, working with Wirral Mind as a charity, recognising the need for movement, you know, mindfulness and how important it was and how it helped me and how it was helping these people.
Did you feel like you had found a space for you as a woman that kind of catered to those needs and values and purpose of you holistically, so your own personal healing,
100%.
what you could offer to other people?
Yeah.
I had a very similar experience when I went to Tomorrow's Women, a charity I worked at last year. I went in to deliver a talk, and being in that space and having that sense and that feeling, it felt very safe and very comfortable. And I walked out of that space and thought, as a woman, I have never felt such a holistic feeling of that satisfying and comforting so many different needs for me. I must go back into that space.
100%, and seeing how it helped me, seeing how it was helping these other people, it was like, right, okay, so I want to do more of this.
Yeah.
So I set up, as you know, a community group to be able to obviously apply for like funding to offer these movement sessions, you know, breath work, meditation, all of that holistic stuff, but offer it in a wider field for the wider community and not just be in one place. Because I think it's so important for people to be able to access that. And, you know, some people might not drive, so they can't go to a certain, you know, centre. So I can. So I thought, how can I offer this to a broader community? So obviously making connections with places like Tomorrow's Women, Parkinson's UK actually came to, well, not Parkinson's UK, two ladies came from Parkinson's UK to one of my sessions and were like, oh, this is fabulous, this is what we need. So then I deliver sessions for Parkinson's UK. So it's kind of just been like that ripple effect.
Yeah.
And then I'll make contact with other centres, obviously like Charlotte's Brightside. So yeah, it's just evolved through that. And I love what I do. I love helping people, but it also helps me because I'm so passionate about it. And I just think, do you know what, it is a gift to be able to offer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's becoming, since lockdown, more and more people are aware of it. It's, you know, people are prescribing it and doctors are, you know, saying try yoga,
It's
try
nice
meditation.
For it to be recognised,
100%.
It's like a social prescription.
Which you know, I've always been a firm believer of it should be taught from an early age.
You lived and breathed that
Of
as
course.
your medication,
Yeah.
didn't you? Because you went through it.
But back to the trauma of losing my mum, that is how my work has evolved. So having that trauma has also been a gift, like having Harry the day she died was a gift. The gift I've got through what my work and what I can offer. I feel that gift every day.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like her energy's still around.
Yeah.
It's still part of that's like her legacy that
Of course.
she's kind of been able to offer to you. That's kind of set a pathway for your future life and your health probably.
My
as well.
health, my future, and obviously helping others is a big part of what I love.
Yeah, it's like it's a value, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like you leave a space from people who, you know, at first were distressed, and then when you leave that space, they make you feel like you've just given them.
Oh
so
yeah, it's
much.
wonderful. It's so rewarding because I watch how people grow.
Yeah.
I've been with people at rock bottom and, you know, they've stopped drinking, they've stopped substances and, you know, they come to me and they say, I couldn't have done this without your sessions, and it just is lovely. And that's why I just think, you know, obviously having that trauma was horrific, but good things have come out of it.
Yeah, that you can say now the time
Yeah.
has passed and, you know, not enough time has passed for you to be fully like healed. And
No, it's healing is a journey. We're always healing.
Yeah,
Life is about healing.
absolutely. So with regards to like your physical health, do you have any, and obviously if you don't want to talk about anything,
No, it's
that's
absolutely fine.
my lens, and I am very biased and I do get told off for it, but my own experience where significant traumas, physical health conditions, psychological conditions later on, which I thought were from experiencing the physical.
Yeah,
So for me, my brain communicates as in psychological trauma, disease of the body, which can manifest in mental, emotional, or physical symptoms.
yes, 100%.
Do you feel like you've ever had like an unexplained physical condition that you could kind of attribute to, well, potentially was that a build-up from trauma and stress or not?
Yeah, I can, because obviously I wanted to talk about the somatic movement and somatic practices that obviously help to relieve the stored trauma and stress, tension and emotion. But going back to me, I've always suffered with like gynae stuff.
Right.
And a lot of lower back pain,
Yeah.
really bad endometriosis.
Now you taught me something that
Yeah.
I've just remembered about emotion. It's
Held,
stored-
yeah, so held in our pelvis, in our
Right.
hips, in our lower belly.
Okay.
So that is the seat of our emotions.
So to my simple understanding, I'm thinking I'm seeing the trajectory from psychological trauma, if it stays stored in the body, if it's unprocessed, and it's very emotional, that could have been held and caused disease.
100%. This is why, obviously, physical symptoms are often emotional, have come from, you know, not necessarily injuries, but stored trauma,
Yeah.
and will only get worse unless we use tools and techniques to release, which is brings us on to the whole somatic style of teaching, of the movement sessions, to encourage people to be led physically rather than emotionally. It's about listening to what the body's saying. It's about reading those body signals and thinking, right, okay, so what is going on here? What can I do in a movement way to release that?
So how do you, for example, we spend a lot of our time, don't we, having conversations with people where we've got similar interests and similar knowledge and experiences, and we kind of get the language we're talking. Do you ever feel frustrated or challenged if you have somebody that you know looks like they're exhibiting certain symptoms following on from trauma that you could support them with your knowledge and education on, if you were to do these things, you could untrap that trauma?
Release.
Do you ever have a struggle with trying to communicate that to other people, or do you have to kind of be like, it's not my job to try and teach everybody if they're not on that same page?
Well, obviously, I'm not a doctor, and some people need, you know, specific scientific proof. You know, people would say, oh, it's bullshit, what you're talking about, do you know what I mean? I've, like, hurt me back, I fell over kind of thing. So that in a sense is different.
Yeah.
But, you know, most people who I'm in contact with, or come through my door, or come to my movement sessions, are sort of already willing and aware and open to healing, so to speak.
Yeah. So they've already come halfway down the garden path to the front door of what you're offering.
Because of what it is. It's and no disrespect to, you know, what, go in the gym, and I go to the gym. Oh God, sorry. I go to the gym and, you know, like lifting weights and spinning and all that kind of thing. Yeah. But from a holistic point of view, things like yoga, movement, they're already probably on that thought process of healing holistically. So they're aware a bit about it, and they're interested, and they're not thinking, oh, that's a crock of shit. You know, that they're already... People generally... No, and that's not my job. That's not my job to do that. I don't work like that. You come to me if you want to come to me. I'm not about to sit here and tell you what you should be doing.
Do you know what really, like, frustrates me, and it's something that I'm trying to calm myself down a little bit with it, when you feel like there's certain things that other people can do. For example, if somebody is going through a situation and they're using self-harm behaviours, whether it's eating loads of sugar, drinking loads of ale, doing whatever.
Done all that.
Well, that's it. And then when you get the knowledge of, oh, I was actually harming me.
Oh, it's an emotion. It's like that emptiness. You're trying to fill a space.
Yeah.
It's that... I don't know a lot about self-harm, but obviously I've touched on aspects of that through work. But it's that feeling, that emptiness. It's filling that void. The same with eating. The same with, you know, drinking, drugs.
And I suppose it's their way of autonomously trying
control.
It's
control.
I need some sense of control over something, whether that's self-medication.
Whether it's bad or whether it's good, I have the control to do that to myself.
So you have literally lived and breathed everything from psychological trauma, being a mum, being, you know, a friend, being a worker, having your own CIC, working with charities for like how many years? It's like there's 20 plus years now or more.
Oh God, probably. I mean, around, I'd say 20, 25. I started obviously in the fitness industry, and then that evolved. But me personally, I started practicing yoga at 15, so that's a long time.
So is this now your culture?
Oh God, yeah.
And as a professional,
100%. That's it. I am my job.
You're fully immersed.
Yeah,
like up to it.
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Way.
Yeah.
So you practice what you preach?
Well, I try to.
Trying to off the ball.
exactly, yeah.
I give
I talk the
advice.
talk. I'm trying to walk the walk.
I give advice and I'm like, oh, I might take that.
This is the thing, because it's like, I need sometimes, when you're telling everyone to slow down and to make time for themselves and fill their own cup and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Who needs to do that first?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Fill your own cup.
And that's another reason why I wanted to do like a visual podcast of people in like our community.
Yeah.
To hear local accents and local voices and real women and go, I might not know her, but I resonate with their experiences, or I'm familiar with that culture.
100%.
It's making me kind of go, oh shit, I do that, or I could do that.
Yeah.
Or it gives you that knowledge and that inspiration.
It's
Doesn't feel
real.
supported.
It's real. It's authentic, and it's lived experiences. I was talking to Cassie about it before, back in there, trying to keep our voices down, weren't we? Whispering. Yeah. And it was... it's about living those experiences, and again, no disrespect to people who haven't had lived experiences. I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody here. Don't hate me if you're watching it and you think I am, because I'm not. But living that experience, it's like, what more knowledge can you have?